there's all these inputs and outputs from the customer, the talent, and the recruiter that if they have to be managed perfectly to really create the right journey of an experience to drive the outcome. And I thought that there was a lot of opportunity to kind of solve for that. And obviously there was solutions that came up like Herefish and Sense. And I know we partnered with Herefish, and I think currently we're partnering with Sense on journeys. And, so we've baked that into Bullhorn, into our process. And we are still evolving this, but we're identifying those inputs that are hard for us to always adhere to, but important for our customer or our candidate to be involved with and have touch points from. So what we've done is really kind of leveraged these automated communications at certain trigger points within our workflow to make sure that we're managing expectations and we're touching our candidates and our companies appropriately so that we can have a really healthy experience throughout the journey that drives to that outcome. And more importantly too, is once they're on that active engagement, how are we making sure that we're leveraging technology to help us through that process? We've also used technology even on the forefront of this, which is we're using a technology called Maya, which offers artificial intelligence. And that's really, at this point, we're leveraging them for sourcing talent and really working with not only sourcing talent, but also sourcing talent inside our database. I learned actually a couple of months ago that we have about 4 million candidates that live in our database. And if you can imagine, there's no way we could ever possibly engage with them in a meaningful way with that type of volume. Well, Maya works 24/7, and we help create the communication points that then Maya then ends up evolving over time because it's artificial intelligence and it learns. And we've seen some huge strides with being able to re-engage candidates and bring them back into an active status so we can help place. And if you can think about just where we're at right now with unemployment being so low, that it's finding talent is hard, right? So, that type of solution for us is really helping us stay competitive in the market and identify talent that I don't think we would have the capacity to identify without it. I'm sure we have other technologies I can talk through, but they're more ancillary and not direct to the outcome.
No, I mean, that's those things are everyone's thinking about, right? Like you kind of hit on a lot of things. So improving the experience, obviously one of the most important things, but then re-engaging talent. And I know, kind of the idea of Sense and Herefish and Maya, it sounds like. I didn't know Maya did that. I knew Maya was a AI tool for sourcing. I didn't realize that they had some searching capabilities inside the ATS to identify people that needed to be re-engaged. And is Maya sending the messages directly for you guys, or is that coming out of Sense?
Yeah. No, Maya is doing all of that directly.
Okay, cool.
So we create the engagement that we want Maya to start sourcing from. So you can find specific skills, job history, anything like that, and it will go in and start searching your database and then having conversations with them. And the idea that we were using Maya right now is that it's set up to create the discussion and work them to a place of getting scheduled for an interview. Because if they're in our database and they're inactive, we need to reactivate them, and that we require, a phone interview or face-to-face interview to bring that to life.
Got it. So Maya's having the conversation with them in a very, do they know they're talking to an AI tool or a robot, I guess, at that point?
No. In fact, we actually were demonstrating this with a big client opportunity about 3 weeks ago, and we did demonstrations with them, and they were like, "This is amazing. Like you can't tell."
Got it.
It is so mindful of the language it uses, so that it doesn't sound like it's choppy or it's not a person.
Got it. It's really, and it's not phone based. It's like text message based, I'm assuming, or email based.
Yes, it's all text. It's all text based.
Okay, cool.
Communication. And then the other tool that we recently started using is Cloud Call too, so that Cloud Call links right into Bullhorn, so that one of the cool things with Cloud Call is that it basically integrates with Bullhorn. And one of the things the other problem that I always saw is that as an industry, we have to document everything because, again, from a compliance standpoint, there's just a lot that can come back to us. And So we're required really to document every conversation we have. And that's also a problem because we only have so much time in a day to create a healthy journey to an outcome, right? So it's another caveat. And what Cloud Call does is at least help. What it does for us is it helps us by you and I, for example, having a conversation, and the moment we get off the phone, that conversation is recorded and dropped into your profile. So I can always go back to it from a notes perspective versus having to take 2 minutes of my time to document the conversation.